So Kamala Harris debated Mike Pence last night, and it was much more of a traditional style of debate than what we saw between Biden and Trump, but there was still quite a bit of interruption. Well, I say that, but I think we might now just be hypersensitive to how annoying interruptions actually are. I don't think there was any more interruption last night than any kind of normal debate. People talk over each other, and it's normal to see it in a debate. But we saw something last night that progressives should really take note of, and it's not pretty. Let's watch.
Well, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
Absolutely not true.
What she did does not exist in a bubble. If it did, it'd be fairly harmless, and I might actually kind of like it. But it has implications for the left moving forward. When you think about how it can be used in the future, it was one of the most smug, blatant, elitist weaponizations of gender and identity I've ever seen. It was absolutely choreographed, and it was designed quite blatantly to make millions of viewing women say, "Oh God, I've been there. Who would I be in this situation? Definitely her. I'm with Kamala." Now, Pence is Pence. His ideas are repugnant, and there's no way he was actually going to be able to look righteous in the face of her assertion. Nothing he could say would change the fact that in that situation, he just looks like a sexist pig. Hypothetically, he could be out there saying we needed to enact progressive change to really combat coronavirus, and the viewing public would still side with her. The optics were on her side, and that's all that matters in the Democratic Party these days. So, when someone gets interrupted, it's perfectly natural to want to assert yourself, and that's fine. In fact, I wish Biden did it more during the last debate because Trump was just flat out annoying. But when Kamala does it, it has a wildly different effect on the viewing public, particularly women who frequently report getting talked over by men all the time. And with that audience, this moment landed. It absolutely did. But the temptation exists for people to portray this as Kamala simply standing up for herself. It is very important that we look into this much more deeply than that. Now, everyone gets talked over, especially in politics. But in the battle of public opinion, if you can make something look like a gender-based transgression and it suits you to do so, which it does in the Democratic Party in the current social climate, then believe me, you'll do it. Some of the most egregious offenders might even fabricate something out of thin air.
CNN reported yesterday that, and Senator Warren confirmed in a statement, that in 2018, you told her that you did not believe that a woman could win the election. Why did you say that?
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. Anybody knows me, knows that it's incomprehensible that I would think that a woman could not be president of the United States. Go to YouTube today. There's a video of me 30 years ago talking about how a woman could become president of the United States. In 2015, I deferred, in fact, to Senator Warren. There was a movement to draft Senator Warren to run for president. And you know what? I stayed back. Senator Warren decided not to run, and I did run afterwards.
So Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed.
So here's the deal. When Pence got hit with Kamala's assertion, I immediately thought back to Bernie getting hit with the baseless accusation that Warren made. It was another example of the weaponization of identity, and it works. Now, Pence is Pence, and it's likely that on any given issue, he's probably going to have worse opinions than Kamala Harris would. But fast forward a bit. Fast forward into the future when the next progressive is trying to defeat Kamala Harris or whatever neoliberal disaster they try shoving down our throats. Assume it's Kamala, who is already receiving the glorified celebrity politician treatment. Imagine if it's a white guy trying to point out the flaws in this accomplished woman of color. We'll never win that war of optics because it's all about who looks best on TV. No matter what we have to say, no matter how many people she's locked up, and no matter how many times she capitulates to Wall Street, the media will still give her all the fawning coverage because it makes them look righteous, and they just want more rich women of color piloting the drones. The neoliberals will be even more brutal in the way it's executed and the way the media covers it if it's a lefty, too. At least with Pence, they know he's part of the Washington establishment, and he won't be pushing for any crazy changes if by some miracle the Republicans win this election. But with a progressive Democrat, in 4 years? They'll bring out the big guns to take you down. You make one little move that offends the sensibilities of somebody in the establishment, and they will put every little bit of ammunition in toward wiping you out. So in that case, given the weaknesses that a white male progressive has against the diverse elitist Democrat, this is just more evidence for why our movement needs to do better outreach with earning votes from the black community. And not for nothing, but Nina Turner would wipe the floor with Kamala. Guaranteed.